jump right into the movie of the week, which is Venom 2. What is it? Something I shit on Carnage or
let there be carnage in your fandom.
They let there be carnage on the movie screen. Yeah.
More like Venom 2, more like
carnage.
Venom Stew.
If people are not hearing from my voices, we've probably given away the lead. So let's let Jaron go ahead and begin. Well, Jaron, what is your review of Venom? Let there be carnage.
All right, let's open up with a positive. I think this is my favorite movie that was directed by Andy Serkis.
Of the 5 he's done.
I'm stretching for the positives here. Relax. Come on. It's good to see the witch from At World's End acting again, I guess. I don't know. The Shriek.
No, she was in a Bond movie. She was a Bond girl.
I didn't recognize her at first, but they did one of the 2 frames in the movie where they actually close up on her face and she talks to the camera. I was like, holy shit, I recognize her. Otherwise, she's just kind of a distant, possibly CG character. It wasn't good. God, it wasn't good.
I'll see how long he was going to dance around this.
Let's see how long he can beat around this bush.
Yeah. They have such a good concept with the whole like odd couple thing where Venom's living in Eddie Brock's head, and they just make it annoying and they talk over themselves and it make it convoluted, and sometimes it's funny. I laughed out loud like 3 or 4 times in it. There were some funny points, but the movie at whole is very disjointed. Man, what a waste of Woody Harrelson. The fact that Dan guy didn't get eaten at some point is kind of disappointing.
Man, why you gotta get scared? I think he's the best character in the whole entire thing.
I was going to say that too, but yeah, go ahead. Like, why do I keep shitting on Dan every time? I'm like, Dan's
like the best human being of all time. He
did show up. He showed up to throw some fire.
His fiance is like, yo, I gotta go help out my ex-boyfriend do some really dangerous shit. And he's like,
a psychotic alien.
All right, baby, you want me to carry your purse? Like, what do you want me to do? I'm there, I guess. I'll drive you there.
You know where Dan fell the fuck down? He got thrown in a trunk and in a modern car and didn't just pull the little emergency release on the trunk and get the fuck out of the trunk. He waited for her to come back and open the trunk up. Bullshit. He wouldn't have been there. Those motherfuckers glow in the dark too.
I'm just assuming he was knocked out. That's what I'm assuming. He woke up with
he opened it up and he was like just chilling. Oh, I don't know. I won't jump into the middle credit sequence because I'm sure we'll talk about that at the end. That was the most interesting part of the whole thing, I guess. And it was like 3 seconds long. So I didn't like it. Don't waste your money on it. I'm done. Continue.
All right. Jason, your thoughts?
My thoughts on this movie. When I was watching this movie, I was like, okay, this movie seems like it was released in 2001. Right?
That's what we said.
It had the same kind of feel and style of a movie where they hadn't really understood like how complex superhero movies can be if you do it right. And it was just like, oh, here's a fun little superhero movie. Here you go. Yep. That is not a plus. That is not. I'm not saying that is something good. I did not like this movie at all. Unfortunately, Jaron, I didn't laugh once. I thought this whole fucking shtick between Venom and Eddie Brock terrible. I thought it made the kids laugh, I guess. I guess that's who it's for. So I guess that works.
I think I laughed at the Dan line when he's pouring the fire. He was like, "Yeah, fire and sound, minus the sound."
Yeah. So like I always say a lot on this show that I like to see more movies or more superhero movies where it's like a slice of life or a smaller take on things where things aren't always have to be, big world-ending things. This isn't it because there was no point to any of it. Not to say there's no point. There's not any point to any superhero movie, but there was no narrative thrust. There's no drive here. There was no point to why they're even in conflict with one another. Really, in my mind, Carnage, which is Venom's like #1 villain, barely does anything. What is his point? Oh, I'm gonna escape from prison and go hang out with my girlfriend, and that's it. Like he didn't even like threaten to like really kill people. He killed like 2 additional people after he broke out of prison. He killed one guy for a suit, and he randomly flipped the truck off, I guess, the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever.
That was a very random thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like you're thinking like Carnage, in all intents and purposes, is like
he's cut. He's a killer.
He is like the Spider-Man-esque version of the Joker or whatever. He is a big bad. All right, he is something that you like take seriously and want to get out the way. And then it's just like in this movie, it's like these characters barely even like are recognizable as the characters they were meant to be. And and for me, it's just like none of this is fun. None of this is what I want to see. None of this is anything that I even like relate to. Like there's this one part where at the end where it is shown that Cassius Clay and Carnage aren't really bonded together. And like that's one of like the biggest things about Carnage is that him and his symbiote are like almost one and the same. They are bonded on a cellular level, even more so than any other person or any other symbiote wielder. So much so that they talk in first person to like they use I pronouns when they talk.
Yeah.
And it's like in this movie, it's like, oh, they're not bonded together. And like it makes sense in the movie, but that's not Carnage then. It's like, and it's like I guess the lady was supposed to be Scream or whatever, or whatever the Shriek, and it's just like I don't see these characters as the characters that they have been in previous mediums, and it took me out of it and just made me hate the whole thing. And it's just like for Sony to make these movies about Spider-Man villains not Marvel without Spider-Man, it's like they're trying to create a solar system without the sun. Yeah, you have planets and shit, but they don't revolve around anything. They're just lifeless hunks of dirt and ice that you put in the sky and say, "Oh yeah, it's a planet," but it doesn't. There's nothing there. You can't just paint it green and say it's Earth, all right?
Wait, we're not talking about Morbius yet, are we?
That's gonna suck too.
I forgot all about that. Oh my god, you made me remind that. Oh my god. Oh, my brain.
Oh, Sony.
So like, I texted you guys and I said like, Deadpool has ruined movies because they're too busy trying to like do this fucking anti-hero. I'm a joke. Everything's a fucking joke kind of character rather than tell a good story. And that pissed me off because it's like
he's a lethal protector.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Just stop. Like, stop talking. And then poor Michelle Williams, man. Like,
yeah.
They underutilized that chick to the fucking like, oh yeah, she's just another damsel in distress. Doesn't do shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like, she didn't get out of that thing that she was tied up in that she could easily get out of.
Yeah, she could. It's just like, I love Andy Serkis. I don't want to talk bad about him, but you probably need to stop making movies.
Yeah, this ain't it.
At least directing it. This ain't it, dude. Do something else, I guess. Yeah,
go back to motion acting.
Yeah, let me. See, I don't hate because I love shitting on movies. So
pile on, buddy.
I hate shitting on movies where people you respect are in them. That's what I hate.
Right. Yes, I will agree partially with that. So here's my issues with the movie. One, you already mischaracterized Venom, but okay, if you want to do that, I'll take the L. We'll mischaracterize it. These are one of those movies, like I think Jaron had mentioned it, is that you put something on a whiteboard when you're going to think about what this movie is going to be about, and it sounds good on a whiteboard, but then when you start fleshing the idea out, either you got lazy, you didn't have enough runtime, or you just didn't give a shit.
Or you missed.
So you do the whole like Cassidy's main love or thing that he's only cares about is almost deadly to him in his relationship with Carnage. Good theory and premise.
Yeah,
you do that, but you have to just oppose that with a Venom situation. If you would have had Venom sneaking around at night, crime fighting and eating people or whatever, to make distrust between him and Eddie Brock, then you can have this just oppose of there's a trust issue in both relationships, and one figures a healthy way to resolve their trust issue, while the other one does not, because he's the bad guy. No, it is easy. I'm not a writer, guys. I haven't written anything in my life. I just watch enough movies to understand that some things you want symmetry and you want the good guys to always have the correct response to it, figure out problems, and the bad guys never get it together because they always go with the incorrect response to figure things out. And know what you do in sequels? You have the bad guy figure some part of it out and it flips it, and then you can go a little further. But that's neither here nor there because we never see people keep their villains for sequels anymore. So whatever. Going to the point of this is that Venom to me was like, I told Jaren, if anybody listens to a rap album, and you know how rappers nowadays, they do a ton of ad libs, almost to the point that they ad lib so much that you don't even know what the lyrics are being said. That was Venom for me. At one point, at numerous points in the movie, I wanted to be like, Venom, shut the fuck up. Just shut up. I don't need you to have a comment for every fucking thing that goes on. I love my children. I even tell my children, hey, you don't have to have a comment for everything that goes on. You can just chill. Eddie should have chilled, like, right, like, yeah, like everything. I mean, Eddie,
baby girl, you're not working on your type 5.
Right. I mean, Eddie's walking down the street. Somebody says hi to Eddie Brock. Eddie says hi. Venom has to be like, oh, I want to eat him. Shut the fuck up, Venom. This ain't about you all the time. Like, it's frustrating that because they felt that, oh, that's what people enjoyed, the odd couple feel in the first one. So we'll give you all the odd couple feel for this one. The problem is like you said, it's too much, but not even just being too much. It doesn't lead to anything. It literally, they manufactured an issue between them two that could have been literally resolved with them being like, Eddie being like, hey, Venom, I know you want to eat bad guys. We can figure this out, but we got to lay low. But also, can you just shut up sometimes? I'm having a hard time having peace in my own body because you having to keep talking about every fucking thing that goes on around me. Just chill. Like, briefly.
It's almost as if they could have solved it by sharing the same brain, kind of what the
being like,
exactly.
Without having to say it out loud even.
Hey, Eddie, you know what I could do for you? I could put you on autopilot in your brain and I could take over and do some shit while you just rest. Because you know what? The real Venom sitting by them, they do that all the time. Yeah. But you don't make it that. It's just, it wasn't funny. It wasn't quirky. It was like, it was almost as if they were trying to like make Venom this thing. And I'm not going to get into Venom giving up halfway through the fight at the end. It's nothing intimidating or badass about Venom. And I hate to say it, as a character, Venom, I don't like Venom. I never cared for Venom. He's in that 80s echelon of characters. I thought they were just trying to make cool looking characters without much like base and fun. Venom's in that category, but at least Venom always looked like a fucking badass, a monster. And if Venom was in the Spider-Man comic, you know, shit was going down, which leads me to Carnage. Carnage was the response to, hey, Venom is getting a little softer. We still need somebody that when they get into the comic books, people know it's just about to go down. Then you bring in Carnage. This movie does everything possible to make Carnage almost just your run-of-the-mill villain. Like, they tried everything possible. Like, hey, remember in Joker when he danced? Well, we're going to have Woody Harrelson dance. Hey, remember how you guys like to see, because he's a killer, we got to show him being brutal? Well, let's make him brutal by stomping some clerk in the head. But why? Why? And then the worst part about it is that even if you do all that, because you were trying to make him tough and it didn't work, but even if you do this, you renege on all that tough talk by being going, Eddie, you should have told him about my abusive mother and grandmother and father. That's why I'm mad at you. What? So now this big tough guy that was supposed to be evil for the sake of being evil, he's mad at the guy because the guy didn't tell the true story about his hurt and shattered childhood.
And he wanted to be friends.
I'm so sorry.
I'm mad at you because we should have been friends. Like, you don't even know this motherfucker.
And you know what? The only good thing about this movie, spoiler alerts, if you don't want to hear this, turn it off, wait, or fast forward about 15 seconds. I'm going to give it spoiler alert in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The only good thing about this was Venom ate his fucking head and said, fuck this dude, fuck this guy. Because yes, that's how I felt at the end of this movie. Fuck this movie, fuck that guy, fuck everything about what's going on here. And the only person I rock with is Dan, because he's the only nice human being in this whole fucking universe, it seems to be. Yes, that is my own.
You get one fuck in a PG-13 movie, and they fucking wielded it in a godly way in this one. Man, fuck that guy.
Here's why Dan is the only fucking redeemable character in this whole entire movie, because fucking Michelle Williams, I don't even know the name of the character. She calls up Eddie and tells him, I got something to tell her. And Eddie's all excited and shit. And she's telling him, I'm getting married. And he's like upset. And then she gets upset that he's upset. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he should be upset. You know this motherfucker loves you, right?
No.
Like, he doesn't think you should be even with that dude. And you're like, oh, you should be happy for me. Like, nobody works like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been like, Witch, you made me waste my motorcycle gas on this? Man, I need you to
know I'm
pony up.
broke too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I need you to pony up. Like, come on now. You a lawyer, he a doctor, y'all got money. I need you to pony up.
I talked briefly with Jason about this earlier. I think that Marvel did a great job by locking down contracts for heroes so that they could come back for multiple, movie deals or whatever. We need to get villain contracts to become a thing. They need to have, you cannot kill Carnage in the second goddamn Venom.
No,
what the fuck are you doing?
You can't
Cletus
kill
Cassidy is a
one
mainstay. You need to have him
villain.
get away, maybe wounded, whatever. Something happens, don't care. It's a comic book movie. Shit like this is expected. And that motherfucker needs to be out in the universe somewhere causing havoc later on when we rejoin in another movie. It has to stop this bullshit. Stop killing the good people.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention or whatever, because I wasn't. But how did the cop start to become Toxin? I don't understand.
Toxin? Yeah,
Toxin is another Venom symbiote.
Yeah.
But like she was up there by himself killing that dude. Yeah. And all of a sudden at the end he's like alive again.
They made a very big point of like zooming in that flashback of his name tag Mulligan. And in the comic books, that apparently I read up that character does become Toxin.
Yeah, he does become Toxin. Yeah. It just doesn't make
sense.
How did he
turn into this? Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
he must have got a piece of the Carnage symbiote like dripped off.
When? Something. Where? At what time?
I don't know. They were holding each other a lot.
Maybe.
So let me get to the I guess we can go on to the mid credit scene.
Mid credits or only post credit scene.
Only
I guess
credits.
really.
Post credit scene.
Yeah.
We're already in spoiler territory.
Spoilers, guys. Again, spoilers. If you don't want to know,
so
turn it off. Yeah,
and like this is the point where I'm just like, I don't really give a shit about this franchise at all, because I guess because of the timey-wimey shit that happens in Spider-Man, No Way Home or whatever, that somehow Venom is that a movie we haven't seen yet. Somehow Venom is brought into the Spider-Man universe. Yeah. And just immediately latches on to Spider-Man just because he's the first thing he sees on TV. Like, oh, that's the problem. It's like, why? Like, who gives a fuck at this point? Like, and like the kids, they loved it. They're like, Spider-Man. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. Like, why is he why is he latching on to this dude? Like, and it doesn't make sense. Like, why would Eddie Brock have a conflict with a child?
Okay, so I have some headcanon answers.
See what you did there.
All right. So one, in the first Venom, because I just watched it Friday with my kids, it specifies very heavily that the symbiote, because it's not symbiote, the symbiote knows compatible people for him and for them. So that's why when they were getting into the bodies that weren't compatible, it was killing them. But it knows, like, it can understand or know, and they didn't say how it knows, so it could be just maybe seeing them on TV. Who the hell knows? But it did make a good point in the first one that they know who's compatible with them. The second one is before he shifted into another universe, Venom talks about like it's a hive mind and blah 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 blah. So if you combine that with the fact they know who they want to like, yada yada, you got to think to the purpose. He was probably going to show Eddie that universe anyway, because he probably has seen that universe and has probably been at home wanking it to Tom Holland's Spider-Man when he was a symbiote off on his own planet, because he saw that. That's why he was taking him there. And then the last part of it, I think this is that once I'm assuming that their ability to shift like that is because of the Doctor Strange thing and the new Spider-Man. I feel like this happens around the same time, and that's why they're able to shift like that. I'm thinking it's kind of almost a Days of Future Past situation, like Wolverine, where he can remember his other shit too in the new universe, where Venom, like, he remembers him pining over this guy, but also now he's in the universe with them. He can sense the connection because he's now in that universe. These are my headcanon thoughts. It can be all for now, and it can all be like Jason said. It's a huge stretch, but
it seems like to me that when you're about to turn in your homework, but the teacher is going over the problems on the board, and you know that you're not supposed to erase your answers and put the answers there, but you're doing it anyway.
Yep,
so
yep,
you can
yep,
turn
yep.
it in. That you're hurriedly trying to not be seen that you're erasing your answers and put the right answers in there, but you're trying to do it quickly as possible because you got to turn that shit in. That's what that shit seems like to me.
Yep.
And also, Venom, the symbiote or whatever they fucking say, has killed way more innocent people in this movie than Carnage did, because when he left Eddie's body, he killed like 4 people doing that shit.
Yep. I thought the same thing when I watched it. I was like, from
that
part
motherfucker
1,
is
we
dead.
know they die. Yeah. Part 1, we know these people die after he leaves, right? Like,
yeah, like that motherfucker is dead. Like you're not rolling into a store.
Yeah,
you don't get up for that shit. And it's like, I'm supposed to root for that dude? Like, no, get the fuck out of here.
It'll be
I
interesting
hate
to
this
see.
movie.
It'll be interesting to see if there is an MCU version of Eddie Brock, and if it's also played by Tom Hardy, and if they run into each other. If there was a jump, I don't know if there was a jump or he just like his consciousness was transferred. Also, if he was going into the hive mind collective thing and then they skipped universes through the multiverse or whatever, if then he tapped into that hive mind that is attached to that universe, and there is more of an idea or understanding about what's going on Earth. So again, yeah, I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting to see how they give us unsatisfactory answers to all of these questions in an upcoming Sony movie in association with Marvel.
Sony's Spider-Man versus Venom without actual Tom Holland Spider-Man in it.
We're gonna make Sinister 7 because Sony likes to do one better than the comic books.
Yeah, it's bad. I guess let's go into the ratings, man. Jason, your rating?
Fucking 0 out of 5. Fuck this movie. I don't give a shit.
Jared, your rating?
I mean, all right. There were talented CG artists that were employed as a result of this production, so I at least have to give it a 1.5.
Yes, I am sorry for all the people who worked on this movie, but I'm glad you guys got paid and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But
I'm
0 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 1. No.
0, 1, and 1.5. There you go. Average of 1.
Yeah, no.
Actually,
no.
average
is 7.75, I guess. Yeah. Damn. All right.